Hello, hello, my son Enzo. Welcome back to the
Hello.
podcast.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, I know I'm catching you right before some golf, which is
Oh, yeah.
one of your new addictions. I was just on a little chat in our community and I mentioned that your two new addictions are golf and the stock market. And we all agreed that those two are much safer than fentanyl and Xanax,
Yeah, exactly.
in case there was any
Exactly.
question.
And the stock market's an interesting one because I think so. Here's the thing about it. I'm not a day trader for anybody that listens. I don't have
Yep.
a system, but something about it that I love is just that it changes every day and there's always new information. And you can read as many books as you like and you can study everything that you want to, but you will still struggle to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and right when you think you got a good idea, everything changes and it goes completely the other way, and that's your task is to be able to navigate that. And so it's a never-ending thrill for me, and it tickles the cortisol muscle in my brain,
Yeah.
and golf is kind of the other thing. It relaxes me sometimes. If I'm playing well, it's extremely relaxing and it's super strategic. You have to think really hard, you have to focus at the perfect level, but not too much. And so it's a good couple of things to be interested in.
And I think, and you've said this before, that they're for an ADHD brain, they're actually really good. They're a good fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
For me, it works perfectly. And I'm definitely a patient zero with ADHD. I mean,
exactly. You
um,
still play chess? I don't even know this. Do you still play
I
chess?
love
Because I
chess.
remember when you were, I think you must have been in first grade or kindergarten or something. I don't know. And you joined the chess team in your elementary school, and I was shocked. And you were so good at it. And people were like, how does he know how to play chess? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how
Yeah.
to play chess.
Yeah. Well, my grandfather taught me,
That's right. That's
Pop
right.
taught me. And I love it. I just love it because you can, it's like how the market changes every day. And you've got to make a change based on what your opponent has made, and he's
Mm,
making a change based off what you made a change on, and you got to think 3 steps ahead, and they're trying to think 3 steps ahead. Who can think ahead furthest, and who
yeah.
can get there in the right way without the opponent knowing exactly what's going on? There's a lot of different ways to do it, and so it's just. I still play it all the time. I was just down in Puerto Escondido in Mexico playing at the hostel, and I play with the kids a lot too. And I just love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. I still
Yeah.
really don't know how to play. Next time you visit
Yeah.
Seattle, you'll have to give me a lesson in
Yeah.
chess. Cool. Well, there were just a couple things that we've been chatting about in our various conversations that we have on FaceTime and in text.
Mhm.
And so I thought we would hop on. It's always fun to see your face
Yeah.
and chat. And you had shared something with me that you had shared recently with another mom, and I thought it was
Mhm.
really relevant. And so I was hoping before we dive into the things that your kid can't tell you, which is very intriguing and even enlightening for me, I wonder if you would tell us this little story.
Yeah. So it's the fish love story. And it's by a rabbi, actually. This is not a religious advertisement, but it's by a rabbi named Adam Tversky. And it goes something like this. Okay, I'm going to kind of summarize the story. But there's a man at a river, and another man approaches him and asks the man, "What are you doing?" And the man goes, "Oh, I'm fishing." And he's got his fishing pole in the river and he's like sitting there with his bait and everything. And so the other man goes, "Hey, oh, okay, you're fishing. Why are you fishing?" And the guy goes, "Oh, I love fish." And so the other guy goes, "Well, okay, you love fish. So you take a dangerous item and put a food thing to trick the fish to bite it. You throw it in the fish's environment. You trick the fish and it bites into this weapon. And then you drag it out of the water and you kill it. Okay. And then you cut it up and you eat it. And so do you love fish or do you love yourself? Right? That's the question here is why are you doing what you're doing? And are you doing it because you love that thing or is it because you love yourself? You love the way it feels. You love the fish, the taste of the fish, and you love the way it makes you feel how you feel full. But you've confused yourself. You've told yourself that you love fish. Okay. And so it's just a beautiful analogy because it makes you question, okay, well, hold on. Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? What is it
Right.
that I actually like here? You know? And so like if we were just gonna that's obviously a brutal example. No one's here trying to trick anybody and hurt them,
Right.
drag them out of their environment. I'm not saying that that's what most people are doing, right? But it's a metaphor for like what are we doing here? Why are we doing it? And
Yeah.
so the man who goes to the other man and asks him why is sort of a way that you can think to yourself like, why have I married my husband? Or why have I married my wife? Most people a lot of the time, they actually, believe it or not, they haven't thought about the question. They say, oh, well, I love him or I love her. Or why are you dating your girlfriend? Oh, I love her. Okay, well, do you love her or do you love to feel companionship? Do you love to feel the warmth that they provide you? Do you love the status that they may show the world if you're dating a man that makes, hundreds of thousands of dollars every year? They drive a Ferrari. You like to get out of the Ferrari with the okay, like think about that.
Or
But
she makes
or she,
$500,000 a year.
of course, yeah, of course. But you can ask yourself, why do I love my partner? Okay, why did I marry my partner? Why am I dating my partner? Is it because of what I get out of the relationship, or is it because I love them? And most of the time, it will be somebody will say, "It's because I love them." But why?
Right.
That doesn't answer the question. That tells me what you got out of the relationship,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so it's just a lot. It really does make you think, like, what is it that we're doing here? If you love the fish, let's just bring it back to the fish example. If you love fish and you love to fish so much, you would go to the river and you would enjoy the view of the fish passing by and you would throw some food into the river and feed them and let them enjoy their life. And then maybe you come back again the next day and you see the same fish,
Yeah.
right? Or whatever the case may be. But here's the thing. We try and get so many things out of the people that we love.
Mhm.
And we don't do it intentionally. It's not like, oh, I want this feeling.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying that you're a bad person your answer is, oh, well, I married my husband or I married my wife or I'm dating my girlfriend or my boyfriend because I love them. Like that makes I understand, right? But you didn't answer why you married them or why you're dating them. Okay.
Yeah.
You say
Yeah.
what you get. And so like if we just overlay this into like kids, right? Everybody loves their kid, right? But like if you love the kid, you allow it to live. And you feed it, you help it, and you enjoy its presence. And you're not dying to see the Yale graduated from Yale, right? And oh my
Right.
gosh, I love my kid. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
And so it's something to think about. It comes into my mind all the time. I ask myself, why do I like this activity?
Right.
Why do I want to do this? What is the thing? And that's a super important question.
Yeah, and when you told me this, it really well, it struck several chords, but one that I think, especially that I see, and to some degree I did, is as parents, of course, we love our kids. And again, we're not saying anybody doesn't love their child, but what can happen is I think we have these expectations and we have these outcomes that we are placing on our kids that because we're looking for a particular emotional response or feeling based on what they are doing and how they are doing. So we have needs. And when my kid does well, I feel pride and I like
Mhm.
feeling pride. And I
Of course.
feel this like sense of gratification, like pat myself on the back. I did such a good job raising my kids or my
Of course, right?
self-esteem. My
Of course.
self-esteem is boosted because my kid got this job or got into this college, or at some level, my self-esteem went up because you actually graduated from high school like that. So your expectations can definitely change. But I do see this, and I think why I wanted to have you talk about it a little bit is we may have unconditional love for our kids, but they might feel like our love and approval is conditional based on what they're doing, who they're dating, what college they're going to, if they're going to college, what job they get, how much money they earn. Like all of those things can make it appear to them that, oh, if I live my life in this way, my parents
Will love me.
have, yes, will love me, will be happy, they won't be stressed out. They'll talk about me to their friends, right? They'll include me in the holiday letter. Like
Yeah.
all of those little signals can be misinterpreted to a young person as love. And
Yeah.
really, I think what that is that's approval. But what we have to be careful about is, am I projecting something on my child that says, if you do this, I will feel great. I will be less stressed. I will be happy,
Yeah.
and that's a dangerous place to be, especially with a young person who's struggling with substances and mental health in particular.
Mhm. And just to kind of circle back on that, like it's absolutely totally normal and okay to be proud of your kid
Of
for
course.
achieving great things, right?
Yeah.
And we shouldn't say, "Oh, we're so proud of you because we just had to bond you out of jail." And
No.
like, don't worry about it. Okay? So, unconditional love is different from pride and being
Right.
happy. Like that's normal. It's normal to be upset that your kid is completely blowing it, right? Like that's not no one's saying just totally be thrilled about that. Like I think what the key distinction here is like how can we make sure that the kids know that we still love them and we're here for them, right?
Yeah.
If you're blowing it still, I'm still here to help you, right? And let's go backward a little bit and go to the river, to the fish example. If the beautiful fish is swimming up the river and there's an easier route up the river, okay, and it doesn't seem to go in that route, like let's help it. Let's help it get to the right route, okay? You don't tell that fish, oh my gosh, I don't like you anymore. I'm not
What's
feeding
wrong
you
with
anymore.
you?
Yeah. I wanna help the fish get
Right.
to the correct route and get up the river, right? And that's what you do if you love it because you're just gonna let it continue up the river. And so there are a lot of challenges that kids are gonna face, and they do face it. But there's another quote that I love. This is by Jonathan Sacks. "If achievement were easy, we would take no pride in it." Okay.
Mm.
So there are challenges that kids are gonna have to navigate, and they're gonna have to figure them out, and, like, we wanna help them. And if there's no challenge and nothing has happened, right, to make that kid proud of himself, then he hasn't probably achieved anything. Okay. And so
Yeah.
some of these kids are in that situation and they need some challenges. And obviously, I mean, a lot of the people listening to this are going to have kids in really hard situations. And so we want to help them. But we're not saying, oh my gosh, I don't love you anymore because you're going through these challenges or anything. We want to make sure that that is displayed to the kid, right?
Right.
Because it's so easy to get trapped up in the, oh my gosh, you know, I felt it like I'm not a good athlete. I'm not a good student. I haven't performed academically or athletically in any way. So what am I doing?
Right.
And if the only reason that I know that I've been shown affection or shown any kind of appreciation is because of my performance, right? Then that kind of puts kids in a tough spot. So
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna ask you how that was in your experience, if you felt like I was placing expectations on you that didn't necessarily fit, or I don't know if there's anything in this that relates to what we went through. Hey friend, if you have ever finished an episode of Hope Stream and thought, okay, but what do I actually do when they come home tonight? That is exactly what the stream is for. Because knowing about something like craft or mindfulness and knowing how to act on that something are two different things. For the next 14 days, you can try the stream totally free. No credit card, no commitment, just full access to the education, the live coaching and support calls, and a totally private community of women who understand this experience with zero explanations needed. Start your free trial membership at hopestreamcommunity.org, and I'll see you inside. Okay, back to the show.
well, I mean, academics obviously was super encouraged.
Yeah.
College, you know, a lot
Yeah.
of it has to do with the environment. Everybody's kid is supposed to go to the best college so that every Wednesday at dinner, everybody can share that, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, my kid got into here and there. And so I don't blame you. Like, there's no, what are you supposed to do? You know,
Yeah.
you can't just go about life and not encourage your kids to go and achieve great things. You know, like we want that to happen. But me being me and me having the personality that I had, the hard headedness and everything, I didn't want to listen to the teacher.
Yeah.
And I didn't want somebody to tell me that this is the route to go. I wanted
Right.
to figure it out, you know, and I wanted to make my own money and I wanted to do my own thing and have my own achievements. And so, you know, here's kind of an example. There was a family that I had been working with, and their son had a potential job opportunity, but it wasn't going to be possible for a handful of months. And so in the meantime, I'm encouraging the kid, like, dude, let's try and get you a job for the meantime, you know, like maybe make some money. Then you can see if you like that one once this other one comes up. But it sounded like he was pretty set on this one job. It was a good job. It's a great job, actually. He makes great money now. But if I go and I tell him, hey, forget that. It's more important right now to get a job today. Like, you have this incredible opportunity. Okay, forget it for now. Like, let's get a good job right now. And that's the way you're going to do well. And if he goes and listens to me, then I make a victory when he gets a job.
Mm.
Okay. So, yeah,
Yeah.
he may have gotten the job because I pressured him to do it. But in his head, he knows that really I'm the winner of this situation. He's got
Mhm.
his route that he wants to go. And it turns out he actually did get the job. He waited a while, he got the job, and he's doing overtime now, working full time overtime. Okay, so he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And it's his victory. That's the
Right.
critical part. It's his victory that he had this plan, he lined it up, and then he executed the plan. And so there's these subtle ways that we can nudge kids, you know, and try and encourage certain things and discourage other things. But the best kind of victory that a kid can get is his own victory from his
Yeah.
plan, right? So back to what you were saying about like your expectations and things like that. Like, yeah, I did feel pressure to like, and I'm not great at math, you know, not great at
That rolled
balancing
downhill
every
from
couple
me.
equations. Yeah. Not good at like
Not
figuring
good at
out
math.
what a sodium and a hydrogen like I'm sorry, I don't know. But like I figured it out, thank God, with God's
Yeah.
help, you
Yeah.
know, and like and it feels good because it's a victory of mine that I have, you know?
Yep.
And like I mean, I could go on for days about like what is going on in the world now and kids that are getting out of college and they've got a degree and you know, I have a buddy who works at Fidelity. He tells me, dude, there are kids that I work with, they are clueless. They don't
Right.
their dad told them to go into finance. They're working in finance now. They hate it every day.
Right.
And like, do we want our kids doing that? I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not a parent, but like, do we want our kids spending 40 hours a week, sometimes 60 hours a week, doing something they hate, right?
Yeah.
Or do we want to let the fish go up the river himself and find some kind of way and we'll help him along? We'll help him up the river.
Yeah.
But let's let him get there, you know,
Yeah.
and let him figure it out. So
Yeah. The thing that pops into my mind, the best example of this with you was there was a time where I can't remember which legal issue it was to tell you the truth, but you needed a lawyer. And I was like, well, I can call so and so or so and this and that. And then I didn't hear back from you. And then eventually you said to me, we were on a call and you said, oh, I just wrapped up my last call with my lawyer and got everything sorted out. And I was like, what? And you said, I feel like such a boss because I hired my own lawyer. I paid for my own lawyer. I got this legal issue sorted out
yeah.
and it's done. And when you were talking about the victory, that was your victory. If I had hired the lawyer and I had done this and I arranged that, that would have been my victory. And you would have still been probably left feeling like, well, my mom doesn't think I'm capable of doing this.
Well, so I would have completed the case. It probably would have worked out fine and I would have enjoyed it. But at the end of the day, my growth has been stunted,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
haven't solved my own issue. And now, actually, when I talk to kids, right, That's a story I tell them all the time. I said I got this job. It was a great job. I'd never made that much money, right? But the bummer was I had to do the first 3 months or so of my income went straight to paying this lawyer. Okay.
Right.
And I was pissed because I'm like, gosh, I gotta pay this guy. But after it was all done and I paid him, and I paid him.
Right.
Okay, like I handled it, right? I felt so good. I'm still super happy with myself for having handled that situation. And
Yeah.
so those are the kind of victories that we want. Those kids are going to remember those times. You know, they're
Yeah.
going to remember the victories that they have. They love them. And I still remember that exact moment. And honestly, I'm grateful that I handled that. Like
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I took it into, I don't know. I mean, maybe I would have had a couple extra grand if you helped me
Right.
out, but it would have stunted some part of my growth and I wouldn't have that victory to look back on and to talk about. So
Right.
it's a perfect example. Yeah.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
there anything that you wish that I could have heard or understood about what you wanted during this time when you were really struggling?
Mhm. Yeah. It actually touched me a lot. A couple months ago, I had a conversation with a kid and I asked him, like, dude, if there's something like I could tell your parents, like, what would it be? And it actually like almost choked me up. He said, man, honestly, I would just tell them, like, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Mm.
And like, it's crazy because I actually have the exact same I had the same feeling in that moment when I
Mm.
was going through it. I'm like, "I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Yeah.
Not a good student, okay? Not a good athlete. Don't know really what I'm good at here." And so but I'm trying. Like, I'm doing what I'm doing. I know I like drugs, okay? I know I like to hustle. I like this lifestyle, right? Like, that's what I know I'm good at. That's where I'm getting signals that I'm good at
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry, but I'm trying. I'm trying to do something. And it kind of that's what I would have said. And it's exactly what I would have said. It's like I'm trying, you know. I'm sorry it's not your way. Like, but I am trying and I just trying to make it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because everybody in the world is just trying to get by. Like everybody's just trying to make it. And like unfortunately, these kids have been consumed with this idea that like drugs is what I'm good at. Drugs
Right.
is what makes me feel good. I have community here, right? I'm accepted there.
Yeah.
I'm getting signals that that's what I'm good at. And so I'm sorry, but I don't know what else to do. I don't have any other thing that I'm great at. That like is just giving me signals that I'm good at. And so I mean, that's really what it would have been. Is that like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm trying. You know,
Right.
and it's not the route that any parent would want, but I'm trying is what it would have been if I could have said one thing, and this other kid happened to have the same exact situation. So
Yeah, and what's funny because we initially talked for this episode about, like, what are some of the things that kids are feeling or thinking, but they can't really say to their parents, and I think that is one of them. I'm trying because from our viewpoint, looking at our kids, they don't look like they're trying at all. It looks like they're actually doing the opposite, like, you are self-sabotaging.
yeah,
You're blowing up your life, and so there's that dissonance, right, of
and
what
sorry to
you're
interrupt you here, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just to be clear, that is true. They are blowing their lives
Yeah.
up. Okay, they are.
Yes.
Like we're not saying that they're not. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that like they are trying something, and that might be the only thing that they think that they're good at,
Yeah.
right? So how are you going to tell a kid to abandon ship on that,
Right.
right? But but to your point, like the dissonance, what you were saying about that,
Well,
like
yeah, when you are getting all of the signals and all of the, I guess, what do I wanna say, like,
the reinforcement.
affirmations and the reinforcement from the people that you're hanging out with, like, "You're really good at this," and, there's a reason why those older guys asked you to drive to California to buy drugs because they knew you were smart, they knew that you were adventurous, you loved risk, you were up for
Yeah,
anything, like, so you're getting all of that reinforcement, like, "I'm actually really good at this."
yeah, I'm the man. I'm the man in
And
this domain.
It makes me physically feel better, right? Like it calms me down, or it makes me more social, or it makes me more whatever the substances are doing. That's a pretty hard combination to argue. If it's like
It's
giving
impossible.
you all these
It's
things.
impossible. I mean, why do people struggle for years doing this?
Right. And unfortunately, what I always try to remind parents of is the part of the brain that has the ability to look into the future and to see where this train is going, and the fact that it's headed towards a brick wall is not working. It is not developed. So you could say till you're blue in the face, hey, this is not going to have long-term good outcomes. And your kid cannot see that.
Yeah.
They just can't.
Does not register.
I will never forget one point you got into trouble. I don't even know what for. And they made you go to this, they called it If Only. Do you remember this? Where I had to drive you to like the Central District in Seattle and drop you off at this jail. I think it was a jail where they had death row inmates. And
Yeah.
it was kind of a scared straight thing, right? And they were going to talk to you and tell you, like, there was a point in my life where if only I had made this decision, if only I hadn't made this decision, it was supposed to scare you into being good.
Mhm.
So I drop you off there for 8 hours. I come back and I pick you up, and of course, I'm expecting like you're going to have this, like, oh my gosh, like now I get it. This is so dumb. I can't believe what I'm doing. And you literally said, what a bunch of losers
Mhm.
that they ended up in jail. And I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You couldn't see it.
No.
Do you remember that?
No, I mean, I remember going to a bunch of different
Yeah.
programs and
Yeah.
talk with somebody and things like that. But I mean, I'm a hard-headed one. I don't,
Yep.
I'll be honest, that's one of my
Yep.
things is like, and it helps me in a lot of ways to be hard-headed, but it also, at the time when I was younger and I was doing crazy things, is extremely damaging. And, another concept that's kind of relevant to they could just like, nope, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, and like, oh no, I don't want to go the hard route and like get it all together. I mean, these kids are faced with social media that is showing them things that there's a guy 22 driving a Ferrari. He's got a sales program that he's selling, or he's got a day trading system
Right.
that he's promoting, and you can buy his program and learn how to make $1 billion. Okay. And what cancer is that? I mean, that is a sickness for people to see, for kids to see that, oh, this dude got it in 1 year, figured out this system, and is now rolling around in money. I mean, there's no way that you're going to be able to go for, okay, maybe you win the lotto or something, but like getting things together takes time, and maybe for parents, even this is something to consider too. Like, even if they're doing the right thing and they're trying the right way and they're going in the right direction, it will be a long time before we
Yeah.
see any of that payoff,
Yeah.
right? It would be a long time. They will have to save, they will have to plan. There's going to be a setback, and it's just not, I say all the time, life is not a linear up route towards, okay, one step, next step, next step, next step. We would love that. Like everybody would love that. In reality, for a lot of the kids, it's take one small step forward, crawl another small step forward, get sent back 40 feet, huge setback. Okay. And then claw your way back slowly, and then another setback. Okay. But then
Yes.
learning from each one of these mistakes, and I'll say, like, when I got clean, I moved down to California. I got a job at Marshall's. Okay. Was working hard there diligently, closing people on credit cards. My responsibility was to ring people up at the register and get them to sign up for a credit card. Okay.
Right.
I was killing it. And then one day I got fired because the customer paid with cash and they told me, keep the change. I'm broke. I need money, right? I keep the quarter or whatever it was.
I was going to say, and it was like 15 cents, right? Like it was
Less
dumb.
than $1.
Yeah.
Less than $1. I get fired. Okay. That could set off, I could see how that would set off a 5-alarm fire in your head,
Oh,
right? Like,
absolutely.
how did you get fired from your job? You were just killing it.
Yep.
You were showing up early, right? You were doing everything you should have done. Why'd you do this stupid little mistake? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now he's gonna relapse, and now he's gonna start using, the
And then
movie
the
in my
doctor,
head
yeah,
already has you dead
yeah.
in a ditch.
Oh, it's over. Like
Yeah.
all bets are off, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What actually ended up happening is by that point, I had settled into a mindset of like a clean mindset. I'm not confusing myself every day with the weed and with all the other substances. And I had saved up like $3,000. I think it was like around 3 grand that I had saved up. I said, okay, I'm close to broke, but I'm not completely broke. And I thought, I'm going to take this time and just calmly look for another job, and it's going to be a better job. And so I took about a couple of days, and I was at Walmart between there and when I started applying for new jobs. And I was walking around and I was thinking, I'm going to apply for Walmart. I could probably get a promotion after a little while. And, you know, but then I thought, no, 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 hell no. No, like we are not going to work at Walmart. And so we are working in a better spot. Okay. Like you got fired for a crazy reason. Like it was completely insane. The customer gave me their
Right.
change. Okay. So that's a signal. I was able to tell myself, this is a signal. You're going to get a
Mm.
better job.
Mhm.
And then that's where I got the job where I was able to pay my lawyer. Remember what we were just saying?
Yes.
And so I got a way better job. And I ended up making another step, paying that lawyer, having him go handle my case. So this is the non-linearity of life. You do
Yes.
well, you setback. You learn a little bit in the meantime while you were doing well, you get a better opportunity.
Yep.
Okay. So that was
And
yeah.
yeah, quick side note on that for the parents that are listening whose kids have legal records. The other thing that you did with that job that you got is you disclosed that you had DUIs in Washington State
Mhm,
on the application because it was for driving, right? The job involved driving.
mhm.
And I know a lot of parents worry, my kid has a DUI, my kid has a felony, my kid had, now felonies are a little different, but right, we worry like, oh my gosh, they are never going to get a good job because they have this. And you disclosed that, and you still got the job that required driving as the
Yeah.
key component of the job. So,
Couldn't believe it.
and I
Couldn't
and I
believe it.
think
Yeah.
that's, yeah, it's really important to mention that because you were honest, you were living that kind of life, right? You were no
Yeah.
longer living this life of deception and all this stuff, and it turned out okay. And I think we as parents often default to it is not going to turn out okay.
Mhm.
It is going to, there's going to be a disaster. There's going to be a thing. Again, like when you told me that you got fired, I literally had fast forwarded played the whole movie forward, and you were
Yeah.
dead
Here we
with
go again.
from fentanyl within 3 months. And so, anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent, but I think it's super important. Okay, so one of the things that kids probably can't tell you, parent, is I'm trying, despite what it looks like. It looks like
Sorry, and I'm trying.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The other thing that you had mentioned once when we were talking is I think I said something like, "What were you thinking when you did XYZ?" And you said, "I wasn't." So maybe talk a little bit about how kids are feeling and what they might not be able to tell their parents about sort of what's going on within them internally.
Mhm. Well, that's exactly it, is that most of the time we think, what the heck? Like, what were you thinking when you did that? Right.
When you drank a bottle of hand sanitizer.
Wasn't thinking. Okay.
Right.
It was not computing in my brain was not considering anything else except for that
Right.
at the moment. Everything went out the window. Right. And so, I mean, it's an impulsivity thing. You can't, I mean, let's like remember ADHD is you got a lot of impulsivity inside there. There are a lot of times where these kids are just not considering what is going on. And
Yeah.
so like when I have a kid that now makes a mistake or whatever, and I'm working with them, and I usually don't ask like, dude, what were you thinking?
Because
I
you know
usually
the
just say,
answer.
okay, yeah, so what happened, and like over time, that part of the brain develops and they'll figure it out, right? But there's a lot of times where it's just not processing. There's no consideration going on there.
Yeah.
And so you mix that in with influences who are providing opportunities to do really stupid things, you're bound to get some kind of stupid actions at that
Right.
point.
Right.
So it's just kind of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and the combination of the undeveloped brain and an ADHD brain that has that impulsivity is extra dangerous because there is literally no thinking going on. And I think that's one thing I wish in hindsight that I had known at the time when you were in this is I did not have any clue about what the ADHD brain really was, and to some degree, there wasn't as much information available as there is today, so I'm very
Sure.
grateful for a lot of the doctors that are really putting that information out there, but I was under the impression at the time that ADHD was just, like, you just couldn't focus unless it was, like, on a video game, and then you were hyper focused, but to me, I did not understand anything about the impulsivity, about the inability to, like, remove distractions or out of sight, out of mind, or the
Yeah.
time blindedness, which I should have known because
Yeah.
your dad was many of those things.
Yeah.
And I lived with that for a long time, but I just didn't understand that.
Yeah.
And so I think, I'm sure you would probably agree that if you're feeling like there's nothing you can do, you've got this kid who's off the rails and doing these crazy things and blowing up their life, and there's really, you're doing all the things that you can do from a motivation standpoint and a connection standpoint. One thing that you can do is really learn about the ADHD brain. And I just say that blanket because I would say 90% of the kids of the parents in our community have ADHD to some degree. So learn, and I will put links in the show notes to some of the great resources. Dr. Gabor Mate has an amazing book called Scattered Minds. Learn everything you can about ADHD and the brain because it will explain a lot of what's going on and a lot of what your kiddo's trying to cope with from a day-to-day basis and why substances work perfectly for a while.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. There was one thing, and I wish I had the study to reference, but I don't. So just again, just do the
Yeah,
research,
we'll
right?
try to
But
find it.
there's, I think there's something like over 70% overlap of untreated ADHD
Yes.
and addiction.
Yes.
Okay. So I am a huge believer in medications. I don't I am not saying, I've never said and won't say that nobody should be, medicating ADHD,
Right.
but it will self-medicate most of the time, one
Yes.
way or the other. The kid will figure a way out to calm themselves down and to control the mind, and they're not equipped to do it with only the resources that they're just left with, right?
No. No.
And so, like, there's a million tricks that I have, like if using my environment, right? Like, I'll give
Right.
some of these tricks. Like, first of all, lists. I write 100 lists. I have notebooks like this that
Yeah.
I always buy a new one. I always get a new one as soon as I run out. I write everything down. Whiteboards. Okay, I have two. I have a whiteboard here and a whiteboard over there on both sides
Yeah.
of my room, so I'm always seeing things. And then the third thing is I use the environment. So I put, like, one example is I'll put my toothbrush. If I leave my toothbrush in the bathroom, it's gone. It doesn't click in my head. There's no urgency. But if I have it right by my door on my dresser and I pass by, I see my toothbrush. Oh my gosh, yeah, let me brush my teeth real quick.
Right.
Yeah. So there are ways that you can get by. I obviously medication is I wouldn't ever say to just cut that out. Not obviously for
Right.
everybody, you can have a different thing. So don't rely on me to make that decision. But there are ways to do it. And the other thing I'll say is that, like, and I've said it before, if I could go back and have a little bit of input on what kind of genes I'm going to have before I'm born, I would beg God to please put the ADHD in there, leave it in. Because now and most parents will probably understand, if your kid likes something, they can't leave it alone.
Yeah.
Right. Skateboarding, whatever it is. For me, it's golf. I can't leave it alone.
Yeah.
I can't leave it alone.
Yeah.
Like, it will keep me up at night thinking about the thing that I like to do.
Right.
But and it's hyper vigilant focus can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
But if it's a fill out the packet and, color in the thing and show me what cell does what in the human body, whatever, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it. Give me 3 reasons why that's important for
Right.
me to know today.
Right. Remember the ice cube math problem?
Oh, yeah.
You got that problem
The
like 3
vanilla
years in
ice
a
cream.
row. I thought it
Yeah.
was gonna be the end of us.
Yeah.
But
That's
yes, the
terrible.
ADHD thing is, and what you said is important. I wanna go back and highlight this because you said the things that I like, and I feel them as much more enjoyable. Like, if I like ice cream to a 10, you like ice cream, you're gonna be at a 20. And the
Yeah.
same thing goes for drugs and alcohol. And so
Absolutely.
that's why, it solves a problem in their brain for a while. I'm not saying it's the right solution. It is a problematic solution, but it is a solution for a while. And because the ADHD brain is lacking dopamine, it overfills the dopamine, so it meets that need, and they are going to love it more than the normal person. So if I have a glass of wine and I'm like, "Oh, that's really nice," and you have a glass of wine, it's gonna be 10 times like, "Oh my gosh, I really love this glass of wine."
Mhm.
So
It's the best.
yes, I
Yeah.
think
The
that's
best.
the importance, and I can hear parents, because I would have been thinking this, like, "Great, I do and I can say all these things to my kid,"
Mhm.
and they just roll their eyes or they slam the door, or they punch a hole in the wall, and I think it has to, at times, come from somebody like you who has been there, who's a little bit closer in age to be like, "Dude, you're gonna go 2 steps forward, and then you're gonna get blown back 40 feet.
Mhm. It's
That's
okay.
just it's okay." But
Yeah.
when we say it as parents, they don't connect. You said something the other day when we were talking. Do you remember how you talked about, like, the closeness in age thing,
Mhm.
or what was that? I can't remember
Mhm.
exactly what that was.
Yeah, so I was a while ago, I was in a group at the program I was working at, and I'll never forget because it was information for me. I said, "Oh my gosh, that's why I didn't listen to my mom or my dad." But, like, for example, I listened to Janessa, my cousin, when she told me, "You gotta go home, dude," like,
Right.
when I had run off.
Yeah.
Okay. So, kids subconsciously are aware that their parents are going to die and they're not from the same generation. And so, at a certain point, subconsciously, the input from parents from the generation above, it has a lower weighting in the brain as far as, like, guidance, right? Because
Mhm,
they're
that's right.
from a past generation, and they're going to be that generation forever. They don't understand exactly what it's like to be in this generation with this environment, right? They're from a different whole era.
Right.
So, but people who are just slightly ahead in age and people who are the same age are the people who those kids in their brain subconsciously again, they're going to be side by side with those people for the entirety of their lives.
Right.
And so the weighting is a lot higher as far as like, should I listen to that? Is that actually something that's going to be useful for me to do?
Right.
And so that's really the whole concept behind mentorship and helping kids kind of get a roadmap like where am I going here? What should I think about? How should I think about this?
Yeah.
That's really the idea there is to be at that kind of input from somebody that's not too far ahead, but is generally, you know,
Yeah.
trusted to be able to be like, dude, yeah, like let's maybe not drive while you're hammered or whatever the case may be.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. I was glad you told me that because it made a lot of sense, and I think the fact that it is subconscious, like, no kid at 18 is thinking, "Oh, my parents," they may be saying, "Oh, my parents are so out of touch," or they don't get it,
Mhm.
but they're not understanding maybe the, like, more primal reason why that's
Mhm.
happening, so I thought that was super interesting,
Mhm.
and it does make sense why, like, when you were struggling and I hired a mentor, I don't think it was a super long relationship, I don't even remember, but at least you would go have coffee with this guy, and
Mhm.
I couldn't figure it out at first because I was like, "Ah," like, I'm trying to connect with him, his dad's doing a better job at connecting with him,
Mhm.
but he'll go meet with this guy who's complete random stranger.
Yeah.
So then that kind of all made sense of why that
Yeah.
would work out.
Ex
So, yeah, because I know there are times where is there anything else actually that you wanna share that kids who are actively using and apparently blowing up their lives
Mhm.
might wish their parents knew or aren't really able to articulate to their parents?
Really, the big thing is like what I would have said is, I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that my way is not, the way that you guys want, but I'm trying something and I just don't know. And I think,
yeah,
you know, when I overdosed and I was taught to walk again, and everything kind of, it was a legitimate, painful month and a half, and I wasn't able to walk fast for a year. And brutal, right? I was saying, okay, if I just survived that, I remember in the hospital, I'm like, there's just got to be a reason why I'm out here. And maybe this drug using thing and this lifestyle is not going to be the way, maybe this isn't it. Right. And
right.
maybe I'll just try to figure something else out.
Mm,
And so at that point, I had realized in the hospital, learning to walk again, all the pain. I said, okay, if I just survived that, and they're telling me there was a huge chance that I wouldn't have made it, there's got to be some reason why I'm still here. And so that's, I wish I could show these kids, like, dude, there is a reason why you're here. I wish I had an explanation. Like, this is
yeah,
your perfect route, right? But everybody has their own route that they're going to go, and it's about trying to help them figure that out. But that was really what it was that I said, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know.
right.
Again, not a good athlete, not a good scholar, right? Never have figured anything out that I'm really awesome at, but drugs are what I like, and I seem to be pretty good at that. And then after the overdose, that was what shifted it to be like, is that really what you think this is all about here? Are the drugs really what it is?
Mm,
And I just said, okay, gosh, let me try something else. Let me just consider maybe there's a different way. And then that's when all the things that I was learning in the boarding school and the wilderness and the therapy and all that, I just said, okay, let me just think about what they were saying. Let me try, go back and remember. And
yeah.
so for all the parents that have something like their kids, have been through all these treatments and all of these things, those things are still in them. They will remember the concepts and the
Mm,
things. It's not like it's all just been deleted. Okay. I tried my best to push it all away and to ignore it all. But when I decided, okay, here we go, like, let me try and live without it. Let me try and figure it out. Maybe there's something else out here that I should be doing. That's when all those concepts came flooding back to me. And I
mm,
began using those. And so that's what pushed me so far ahead of even the people that didn't get that kind of help, right? All
yeah,
the learning and the things that are taught in those programs. So I'm a huge believer in it. And it's just a matter of getting to that point where it's like, I'm going to use that skill, or I'm going to
right.
think about this kind of, I have a feeling right now, like, let me try and think about that feeling and process it a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, and I think it just shows the power of the human body that you started learning those concepts at 16 in wilderness therapy. You were 19 when you overdosed twice, and in those 3 years in between, there was not a lot of time when your brain was not under the influence of some pretty heavy substances, and yet you could still remember the things that you had been taught. So I think that's really encouraging because parents do fear, okay, we've been to this, we've been to that, we're on our fifth program. Really? Like, really?
Mhm.
And so it's really encouraging to hear you say that, yes, those things can come back. The brain does remember. If you had to pick one, and this is totally unfair to put you on the spot, but if you had to pick one thing that had been imparted to you in a program or by somebody, it doesn't even have to be in one of the programs that you were in, that came in handy when you were learning to walk and brush your teeth and tell time and all of that. What's something that comes to mind?
Well, if I had to choose one, it would be mindfulness for sure.
Really?
Mindfulness.
Say
Yeah.
more about that.
So it is super easy to get caught up in, oh my gosh, my boss talked to me with the wrong tone. And I think, oh my, like, I might be getting fired and like, oh my gosh, now how am I going to pay the bills and how am I going to do this? And then you get this cascade, right? But if you're able to step back a little bit, I kind of explain it like a third person viewer
Mhm.
being mindful. Like you're a third person viewer on what's going on in this situation. Usually, if you're able to step outside of your situation and just look at what is going on in the world that you just happen to be a part of at the moment, it makes it a lot easier to see, okay, maybe this isn't actually as critical of an
Mm.
emergency,
Right.
right? And so being mindful and just understanding like what is going on in my head, where am I, what am I doing? Like where am I trying to go? What is critical for today? Like what am I doing today? And like is that thought that I had about, some argument that I got into with somebody from 2 years ago, is that really critical to
Right.
what's going on right now? And so
Right.
to have that like third person viewer behind your mind
Yeah.
that's just looking at what's all going on, that I'd gotta say that's been the most impactful one.
Mm.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it, and that also applies to parents, so
Anybody can do
good
that. Yeah.
wisdom. All right, well, thanks so much for hopping on. I'll let you go play golf now and enjoy the
Okay.
rest of your day, and as
Yeah.
always, we appreciate you. We'll put your contact information in the show notes, Life Strategies Mentors, so maybe you wanna give people a quick update on what's going on with your mentoring
Well, yeah.
business.
Yeah, thanks. I'm at capacity, and so we're expanding, and so 2 awesome guys are with me now. Excellent professional experience, excellent life experience, right? Both
Right,
guys been through
crucial.
it. Yeah, been through it hard, came out the other side, went back similar to me to work in the programs and ended up killing it. And so, yeah, we're definitely doing that. And obviously, just honestly, what I'll say about it is I can't believe it. I can't
Yeah,
believe that I deserve to be in this situation. I don't know why. I don't, like, I don't know how or why I've gotten to this point, but the fact that I am means that I should probably just keep doing it, right? Just keep
right,
going
right.
and trying, right?
It's
And
working.
so, like, yeah, and so I'm bringing these 2 guys on, and they're in the same spot where they're just trying to return the favor and make sure that they're doing well in the world and helping other kids do well, and so it's super exciting, yeah, and I love them both.
That's
So,
amazing,
yeah,
amazing. Lifestrategiesmentors.com, but we'll put
yeah,
it in the show notes. So if you do have a young person of the male gender, I would say,
male, yeah.
reach out to Enzo, and he's got this team that they can help out and being that younger generation, right? That's
Mhm.
just a bit closer to where your kid might be, where they might even have a crack open to listen to some of the earned wisdom that you have. So thank
Yeah,
you. Love you so
absolutely.
much. Have a great
Love you
rest of
too.
your day.